So here's one of the little bags I've sewed. Started off as 8 inches by 4 inches. You can see I've pieced it because it was scraps of fabric I've used. I've put a little loop of ribbon inside, again an offcut. Then you can see that I've sewed this edge, just catching in that bit of ribbon there. You see the end of it just poking out. Round the corner, finished on that top edge. I've snipped off the corners so it turns a bit better, and then tied off the ends there with a tailor's knot so the bits don't fall out. I've then pressed it flat along the seams because that gives you a better finish. Once it was pressed flat, I've turned it in on itself. So there you can see one that's been turned. The corners have been pushed out with a little blunt tool. The loop is now on the outside and it's all ready to fill. So here's one that I've been filling, and you can see it's got rice in there. And what I'm going to do next to give you that nice shape is not to leave it like this, but I'm going to turn in the edges and sew them like that. So you can see where I pressed earlier on, I've got that little crease there, and there's the seam from the other side, and so those two will meet. I'm just going to pause now. I think it needs a little bit more in. It feels a little bit empty still, but I don't want to put too much in that I can't stitch it up easily. So I'm just going to pause the recording, put a bit more in, and then I will come back. So I've put a bit more rice in there, and then the next thing I've done is to finger press the edges. One of the nice things about working with this kind of fairly firm cotton is that it holds a crease quite nicely, and so I've turned it over roughly the amount I want it to be, and now I'm going to put these edges together. Can you see they meet, but it's fairly close, and I'm going to match this seam with that crease. I'll pin from the outside to the edges, and then I'll show you the next step. So here you can see I've got my little bag, not too full but full enough. I've turned in the top about 1/4 of an inch, about the same as the seam round the outside. I've pinned it in place quite firmly with the crease there matching the seam here, so you get this nice shape. Now I'm not going to be too precious about this because I'm using up scraps, so I've got some green thread that doesn't really match, but it will be fine. And I've got a longish needle, and I've got a double thread with a knot in the end, and I am just going to overcast the edges. I want to make the stitches quite small so the rice doesn't fall out, and I'm going to try and make sure that I don't make the stitches too obvious, but we'll see how that turns out at the end. So I've just finished off the last couple of stitches. You can see I've got to the end, I've made a knot inside, and I've just threaded the needle through. And the reason for doing that is so that I can snip it off here carefully. Oops. There we go. Then the thread will just appear back inside. You don't get a long thread sticking out, but you've got a nice firm knot. You can see it's fairly tidy. I'm not a great hand sewer, but there you go. And there's your pattern weight. You've got a little hook. It's nice and steady. Most often used for roller cutting when you're cutting out things that you don't want to pin or you're cutting with a roller. Hope you enjoyed that.